so I'll call the July 18th, 2017 meeting of the Oklahoma City Riverfront Redevelopment Authority to order. On item 2 is from the chairman. I'll just say quickly, for those I haven't told already, that we have confirmed the deposits into the account and the match. So we made over $1 million into the account, which was our goal on the fundraising, and so that will we'll move forward with that. But that was successful, and I want to thank former Chairman Norick and Brian for their help in getting some of those corporate dollars raised. So. Item 3 is meeting minutes from the May 30th meeting. Are there any changes or corrections?
Second.
Cast your vote. Passes unanimously. Item 4 is the consent docket. We have the oil and gas revenue report, which oil is up a little bit, and the river corridor events update. Any questions on either one of those?
Second.
Cast your vote. Passes unanimously. Item 5 is the primary agenda items. Item A is to receive the river maintenance projects update.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and Mr. Trustee. My name is Sam Sladen. I'm Construction Project Manager in Department of Public Works, and we have 7 items on this month's maintenance update. Item number 1 is an update on project number MB0937, Phase 2. That's the Public Works River Maintenance Facility. Construction of the project is nearing completion. Substantial completion should be achieved here within the next couple of weeks. A final inspection will take place once all the landscaping is completed and all the outside groundwork. OG&E has completed installation of the 3-phase power, and electric service is fully operational. Meters been set. Architect has performed a preliminary walkthrough of the building and provided a punch list to the contractor. All of the alternates, alternate 1, 2, 3, and 4, have been completed. Interior finishes are nearing completion. They're just basically doing touch-up work on paint and stuff like that inside. They're also testing the mechanical systems. The 10-ton overhead gantry crane has been tested, energized, and is fully operational. That photograph you see right there, that crane, that 10-ton crane is holding 27,000 pounds, so I think it reached its maximum on that one. Item number 2 is project number MC0531. That is the structural repairs to the May Avenue lock and dam. As you recall, this project has been placed out for bid twice without a successful result. Both times the lowest bid came in at more than twice our budget. The project has been sent back to the design team. They're reviewing it, and we're trying to rework the scope so that maybe we can get most of the work done within our budget. The project will be placed out for bid once those revised plans are in place. Item number 3 is the flood damage reduction system inspection, which was performed by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. They do this every couple of years. The inspection occurred on February the 1st of this year. They sent us the report on March the 2nd, and Public Works is currently working diligently to try to correct any of the items that they identified. Item number 4 is project MC0532. That's the Oklahoma River Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition System. Y'all might know it as SCADA. Currently, our SCADA contractor is working with the contractor building the new river maintenance facility. They're installing security cameras, new networking, not only to 420 at our main SCADA control, but also to the central maintenance facility. It also adding CCTV video links both directions so that everybody can have a view that needs to. Let's see here, we're also updating our SCADA system with Verizon cell phone modems so that in the event a radio gets knocked out, we've got a redundant system that we can maintain communications between the dams and our computer systems downtown. Item number 5 is the Waterway Cleanup Program, which is sponsored by our Stormwater Quality Division. On May the 18th of this year, volunteers from the Oklahoma Department of Environmental Quality showed up, had 16 of them. They, as others, performed a great public service. They got down in there and got their hands and feet and other things dirty. Even though the event was scheduled to last half a day, they got rained out, had bad weather come in, so it cut them down to an hour and a half. But in that hour and a half, they picked up 36 bags of trash, and you could see other things that they picked up, and they really did a good job. Item number 6 is the activities of the Oklahoma River Maintenance Crew. During the month of June, the river maintenance crews removed nearly 11 tons of debris from the May Avenue Basin. They removed 30 tons of debris from the Western Basin and approximately 4 tons of debris from the Eastern Basin. The last item on the agenda is the Oklahoma River riprap repairs. During the month of June, street traffic drainage maintenance personnel made progress in addressing bank improvements along the river. These crews repaired approximately 2,910 square feet of riprap and earthen embankment. This location that you see there is between Exchange Avenue and Western Avenue on the south bank, and that is just near the Western Avenue Bridge, and that one is just to the west of the Paul Brum Jr. Dam. This concludes the update. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions?
In the flood repair report or the flood damage report, how many items might have been noted?
There were, I believe, I think there were like 20 different items. A lot of them fall under the same category, whether it was riprap repair. A lot of these will be getting addressed in our maintenance that we're performing right now.
Okay, so nothing that needs to be elevated to serious attention?
Oh, we didn't have any items that showed up as serious or critical. They were all just maintenance needed.
Okay, doke. And on the project, the dam project that we've bid out a couple of times,
yes, ma'am.
Is there a way to phase that so that we don't get too far behind again in the maintenance program, or?
On both occasions, we only had one contractor respond to the bid request. It seems to be the fact that, number one, we're trying to make them work during the wintertime, so that's driving up costs there. And we're doing that not to interfere with the operations of the riverboats. I don't really know if phasing is an issue or just the fact that they're unfamiliar with working over the Oklahoma River. Our first one, they had nearly $750,000 just in workers' comp because they were working over water, even though we were going to have the basin drained for them at the time. So,
we have had work done on the other dams.
yes,
And is this the same contractor, or is it a?
it's been two totally different contractors that we've never worked with before. One was out of Kansas City, Missouri, and the other one was out of, I believe, Dallas.
And the person that's done the work previously isn't interested in doing any more work?
I can't answer that. I just know that they didn't respond to the bid.
Mr. Chairman, if we're so far off, I mean, don't we need to look at our budget? I mean, if we're not getting people to bid the job, and these dams, obviously, as we've seen in the past, are really in a constant deteriorating situation unless you take care of them, it just seems that every day that goes by, this problem just gets worse.
The majority of the repairs at the May Avenue Dam is just spalling of the concrete, which is just patching it up, nothing structural. The preventive maintenance program that's prescribed by the original contractor is things like painting the gates, knocking the rust off and just making them last longer. That's what we're trying to get done here. And painting has been a problem because of the wintertime application. We finally found a product that could be applied as low as 17 degrees, but once again, that's ambient air temperature. If it drops below that during that time, we can't apply paint, and we have to wait for the repaired surfaces to come up to the appropriate temperature in order to apply the paint. We've looked at all different methods of staging it to where we can get below waterline work accomplished while we've got it drained, and then start filling the basin back up, and they can do the stuff that's above the waterline. I don't really know that it's a budgetary issue. I think it's just contractors that don't know what they're really going to be faced with. I know that a lot of the local contractors, first time out, we had the design team would put a criteria in their qualification that not a single contractor within the state met those minimum criteria, and therefore they couldn't bid on it. So I'm not real sure if budgeting is the issue.
Well, I mean, there are obviously dams in other states. I mean, can we not check with other states as far as contractors out of state?
I'm sure we can. I know that I've polled different contractors, those that I was expecting to bid, that did not. And I got every reason under the book, that as to why they didn't bid the project.
I wonder if the state surely has a yearly contract for maintenance on their dams, or emergency contract for maintenance on their dams. I wonder if we could tag on to that like the other state contracts that we do.
We can definitely look into that. In fact, we will do that too. I believe, Trustee Salyer, where you were headed, this doesn't have anything to do with the cylinder replacement and maintenance that we've been doing. That is a totally, I think that's what your question.
I'm just concerned if we put something out to bid
Right.
twice and we're not getting, we need to
When
get
we-
work done, obviously.
When we do the cylinder, that is an ongoing process, and we will continue to do that. This is a totally different thing, and it sounds like to me that we either need to look at our scope, look at the methods that we're doing, perhaps look at budget, I don't know, and we'll be glad to take a look at the state contract and see if that's something that we could tag on to.
I mean, the first time, I totally understand, but twice, if we missed the mark 2 times, we probably ought to figure out what we need to do to get the work done.
Any other questions or comments? I need a motion to receive the report.
So moved.
Cast your vote. It passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item B is to receive the quarterly Oklahoma River Cruisers update. Jeannie is smiling. That's a good thing.
It's always something good to talk about. I'd like to start out by thanking the board for their support of Oklahoma River Cruises. We had a banner year last year, and this year is starting out just really wonderfully, and we're very happy about the things we're able to do and knowing that you're a big part of that. Our ferry service ridership for the first 3 months of scheduled ferry service in this year was up 6% over the same period last year. And if you'll recall, last year was a very good year for us. Of course, we're way above 2015 because May of 2015 was pretty much completely rained out. Ferry service riders per service hour was up 9% over the same period last year. These increases are due to the successful campaigns on social media, mostly for Mother's Day, for our general ferry service, and for history cruises. The spike in May was due to a very successful Mother's Day campaign on social media. During that weekend, we actually turned away 90 people because we just were at capacity for the majority of both Saturday and Sunday. Incidentally, for Father's Day, we turned away about 20 on that day, and then the subsequent weekend, we turned away another 10 people just because so many people had turned out. We're averaging a little over 12 passengers per service hour. Our capacity, of course, is 47, but they all want to come at the same time, it seems. These are some of the Facebook and Instagram and Twitter posts that were put out to encourage people to come down for History Comes Alive. If you'll recall, History Comes Alive was the very first program we developed for attracting riders to our ferry service. We met with the Oklahoma History Center and convinced them to let us use some of their historians to help promote ridership. And I'm pleased to say that this season we're double. We were averaging 13 riders for this trip. We're now averaging 26, which is very good. And just to demonstrate, this is from the cruise on July 8th. The Daily Oklahoman published a story about it on July 12th. And this is Barbara Bird, who does quite a bit of these cruises, and here she's playing a pioneer woman. It's a very successful program, one that I honestly, 2-3 years ago, I thought was dying off and needed to be replaced, so I'm happy to see it's bounced back and it's doing very, very well. These are some of the other promotions that we do on social media. Once again, the specialty cruises, the sunset cruises, they're completely sold out. I believe there's still room the last weekend in August. Other than that, they're completely sold through. We're very happy about that. That's a very successful program as well. One thing that we are focusing on this year is charters. We've done a lot in the past to promote ferry ridership due to our commitments to the Federal Transportation Administration. I believe that we've met that commitment. We're doing a lot of transit from Meridian into the Bricktown area. It's time to put a little more push on the charter business, and so we're working on some plans for marketing and sales strategies to help improve that as well. And with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Jeannie, do you think you could use the social media platform to encourage people to come at some of those off time? You know, if everybody wants to go at 1 o'clock, can you tweak that to say, you know, space available on these different time frames or something so that we don't have to turn people away?
Yeah, but the problem is we stopped selling tickets in advance. We only sell tickets on board. And that helped alleviate a problem where we've sold out a boat in advance, and then people come down to ride, and they can't get on because at our next stop we're going to be full, and we won't be able to take those people anywhere. So it's tickets sold on board. We do have a person at Regatta Park where a lot of our people start their trip to let people know the boat's going to be full. Would you like to come back at this time? Or, by the way, the 1140 trip out of Exchange is usually pretty low. You know, that kind of thing, try to communicate to people. And then quite a few people prefer to call rather than check the website to get times, and that's a very good opportunity for the sales staff at HMS to tell people when's the best time to get on the boat.
Just hate the word of turning people away.
Yeah, I do too. And for Mother's Day, there were, in many cases, I think almost in any case, we gave them a pass so that they could come back another time and ride free, because it was inconvenience brought by our popularity that kept them from being able to ride, so we gave them all free rides.
Any other questions? Need a motion to receive that report?
So moved.
Cast your vote. Passes. Thank you, Jeannie. Item C is to receive a report from the Public Works Department on installation of security fencing on our property at 59th and Midwest Boulevard. There was a map in the packet and information on this. There was work done on the river, and the contractor, it's been some time ago, I think, hasn't it?
Right. Yeah, there was a bank stabilization project on the river right where it crosses Midwest Boulevard, and it's become necessary to install some fencing to keep people out of that area. Patty Butenhoff from Public Works is here if anybody has any questions about details.
Any questions?
Is this a theft issue or what?
I'm going to let Patty answer that question.
Sorry, I didn't hear the question.
Is this a theft issue or what is actually going on that you need the?
Well, one of the property owners called and said that one of his cows has been shot. They're going up underneath the bridge, and they're, firing guns, and they're setting bonfires, and they're camping out. And, they're just hanging out and doing illegal activities.
I wonder, I understood that the contractor for the stabilization work cut a fence to create an opening to get to the river. And I'm wondering why they didn't either repair or replace the fence when they went back out. Do we know
Well,
that?
at this particular location, there was not a fence, but there was so much vegetation that had grown up that you couldn't get to, you didn't have access to get up underneath the bridge. And what occurred was the contractor created a path because he needed to get his trucks and his equipment down there. And now that has just all opened up for anybody to have access. And we actually, from the bridge where we did the work, we have a barbed wire fence, but they're just hopping over that and getting up underneath there. So the fence will be 8 foot high, and we're going to put a barbed wire on top of it so that they can't jump it, and then we will put a lock on the gate. There will be access for police or anybody, authorized people to have access, but not for just anybody to be in.
So we feel like we need to keep that entryway to the river land then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Any other questions? Motion to receive the report?
So moved.
It passes unanimously. Thank you. Item D is to request to incorporate additional property in the Manuel Perez Park. I'll refresh your memory, we had this last month as an introduction, and it was set for the 30-day public hearing, and that has come up. So any other questions or comments on it?
You recall earlier in the year, we changed the name of a piece of Wiley Post to Manuel Perez, east of Robinson, and due to an oversight, an area that was all the way over to where Lightning Creek enters the river was supposed to have been incorporated into that naming, but was omitted. It's about 10 acres, and this just adds that 10 acres to the original naming of Manuel Perez.
And Dennis, I know I asked this, but this little cutout piece, is that private property that we don't have?
Yes, ma'am. That is a private residence on the south side there.
Yeah, they're on 17th Street?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be nice to square that up if we could.
In fact, we have an engineering firm staking our property line because it looks like there has been some fence encroachment on public lands at this point in time, so we're getting it staked now, so we know for sure.
Any other questions? Any public wanting to speak on it? This is the last public hearing for it. Need a motion? So moved. Cast your vote. It passes unanimously. Item E is a resolution recommending the Oklahoma City Council continue to annually designate the first Saturday of every month and the first Sunday of June as free fishing days in Oklahoma City, which of course would include the river. Anything you want to add to that, Doug?
Again, this is our third year that we have designated the first weekends as free fishing days. This came out of the Game and Fish Commission's thought processes to spark people's enthusiasm. And since it has been successful, instead of coming back annually, we just would like for you to support the idea that City Council just set it in action, that from this day forward, those days would be the free fishing days for Oklahoma City. Be happy to answer any questions.
Cast your vote. Passes unanimously. Item F is a resolution recommending that the Oklahoma City Council adopt an ordinance to prohibit within the North Canadian River Corridor recreation area the permitting of any organized activity, including but not limited to running events in which colored powder is deposited. These are the color runs that you've seen things happening in. And I think Parks Commission has had a discussion on this too, Doug.
That is correct. We have discovered that the primary product in those color bombs, if you will, is cornstarch, and when ingested or inhaled, it can do damage to humans' lungs, as well as if it gets into our water supplies, into the river, into the creeks, tributaries, it is toxic from that perspective as well. So we think it's in the best interest of our citizens as well as our wildlife that we recommend to you all that you forbid the use of these type of activities in your areas that you're responsible for.
And what powder is this? Excuse me?
Cornstarch is the primary product.
Where do they use it?
Well, they shoot it out of cannons as you're running,
Right.
and it makes you, they color you as you run through the marathon or the 5K or things along those lines. They also put them in water solution in balloons so that they can be thrown at you as you run through these obstacles, and you come out blue, purple, pink, yellow, green.
This is
Slow
fun, Paul.
Must be a slow work week.
Yeah, Doug, this probably isn't the right venue, but, I think these things happen on city streets, too. I think there's one around Remington Park, and should we...
Well, that's why we want to start with the Park Commission for their lands. We wanted to get to the trustees here for the river redevelopment, make sure that you have support for it, and then obviously when we take it to City Council, we will make the recommendation that even on city streets that it not be used. But we wanted to make sure that the governing bodies for other parcels of land before we got to the streets were in support of it, because it would be illogical if we did it for streets and the Park Commission or the River Trust didn't support the idea. So,
Any other questions? Surprised you didn't have it at the last run that you had, Paul. Okay. Do I have a motion? So moved. Second?
I vote no.
Get a second? Cast your vote. It passes unanimously.
I voted no.
Okay. Okay, item 6 is claims. We didn't have any claims, did we? I don't think we did. Item 7 is additional items. Comments from staff. You've got Doug's director's report. Anything you want to add other than your written report, Doug? Any questions on the report? Motion to receive.
So moved.
And it passes unanimously. Any comments by trustees?
Mr. Chairman, just a quick question, or see if I'm trying to save some trees today. All of our packets have 2 sets of documents, one in black and white and one in color. Can we eliminate one of those? I don't see why we need to print these in color, particularly when we get slides. Okay, do away with something.
Understood. We'll take care of that.
Thank you.
Yes, Larry?
Yeah, quick question to refresh my memory, if you would, Mr. Chairman. Don't we have a responsibility for that part of the land in the western part of the river where we put the paintball operation in?
Do we have responsibility?
Doesn't that fall under the purview of this group here?
Yes.
Okay, then my next question is, have you heard anything from the operator out there about difficulties caused by the intersection washing away to get there?
I have not.
Okay, I got a call about 3 weeks ago about that and told them to go to Public Works, and I haven't heard anything from it.
And that's the intersection of like
Well, it has to do with getting to the facility from council.
council.
Yeah, and evidently it was a washout, he thought, or something, or the contract wasn't finished.
And this wasn't the operator, this is just a resident?
No, this was the operator of the paintball facility.
Well, it's unusual that you bring that up because we've been having some difficulties with him.
Well, then
And,
add this one to your list.
Okay. We'll probably get him to take care of his issues before we take care of this one.
Whatever, thank you.
Okay.
Any other trustee comment? Any comments from citizens? We are adjourned.